Hello again. I'm going to continue on with Chapter 9 with 9b, which is going to be 9.2 and 9.3. We're going to learn how to translate a little more finely, and then we're going to learn how to diagram these guys. So, not too horrible. 9.2 starts at the bottom of page 290, and here's kind of the guiding principle here. We translate ordinary statements into standard form categorical statements so that we can handle them more efficiently. We don't have to worry about, this wouldn't be that hard, right? It's kind of the same thing, but sometimes our categories need more description than just a single word. And so we have, these long things that it's harder to keep track of. And we mess things up anyway, but, we'll see how we get there. So we translate ordinary statements into standard form categorical statements so we can handle them more efficiently. Okay, it's not for any other reason. There's nothing, conspiracy theory here. It's just this is what we do. Okay, now he does give you some very helpful places to find other explanations and descriptions and practice for Venn diagrams. And so it's logic help from the web. The other one that is helpful, and I'm going to put it over here. I don't know if you guys know this one, purplemath.com. They have some things on Venn diagrams. Make sure you do the logic Venn diagrams and not the other ones. The logic ones are what we're working with. Purplemath.com also helps you. It's helped me greatly through the years. If you're trying to explain to somebody, any part of algebra, if you're trying to explain how you change things from decimal to a percentage to a fraction, it's got all that in there. It gives you little explanations, and then it gives you some self-grading practice. So if you do really well, you're going through and you're doing stuff, you put the answers in, you're correct. Yay, it lets you go on to more stuff. And so it's a helpful place. Any kind of math from, I would say, from kindergarten all the way up through calculus, it has helps and practice and things like that. So if it's been a hot minute since you had math, since you had algebra or anything like that, and you need to explain it, like those of us who have kids, keep that in your back pocket because, very helpful. And you can give it to your kid too and say, hey, do these in here and see, now that you've practiced a little bit or you think you understand it better, do these, make sure you've got your concept down, and then do your homework. It's helpful. Okay. Anyway, the philosophy pages is very fun. It's got more in there than Venn diagrams. I can get lost in there for quite a while, but they do quite a bit with any concept you want to learn a little bit better. There's your guy. Okay. So when we look at things, the standard form categorical statement, and I left this up here from 9.1 because we're going to walk through this again, of course. The terms, of course, are your subject and predicate terms. Okay, they have to be nouns. Categories have to be nouns. They can't just be an adjective. Okay, now carnivores is a noun, but sometimes we think about carnivorous. Okay, so cats are carnivorous, but in order for it to work as a category instead of a descriptor, you have to turn it into a noun. And sometimes that just means making sure you got the right ending, carnivores as part of carnivorous. Sometimes you have to add a word, okay, folks, animals, whatever, okay, so that it's not an adjective here, it has to be a noun, okay, so the terms have to be a noun. And then at the top of 293, he gives us our review notes for AEIO. And then there's English. English speaking, English language has a lot of quirky little things because English has borrowed from lots and lots and lots of other languages. You have your standard, well, everybody is, Indo-European, Proto-Indo-European, and then you go European. Okay, so we're on this side, we're doing these other things, and we come from Latin. for the most part. But then there's some French, which also comes from Latin, but diverged differently. Anyway, you don't need a whole lesson on language and linguistics, although we could go there. Sometimes English puts the subject at the end of a sentence or at the second part of the sentence. And you have to really find the verb and then figure out what part of the sentence is doing that verb, okay? So they have one here. Beyond the mountains stood the redwood trees, okay? So stood is our verb, right? What stood? Did the mountains stand? No, the trees did. So the redwood trees stood beyond the mountains is the standard format for that. But we say things backwards all the time, sometimes without really trying. Okay, so the difficulty to distinguish subject and predicate term can also arise when the word only is in a statement. Only palm readers are wise counselors. Only if something is a dance is it a minuet. And so you have different things there. Only. We have, are these, which is a subject term, which is a predicate term? These are a statements, which means they're going to turn into all. Okay, so all palm readers are wise counselors. Let's see, only if puts it at the other side. So a minuet is dance, that kind of thing. So we have all kinds of fun. There is a cheat column page 295. I put a little sticky tab on my page so I can find it. But of course, if you're using an ebook, a sticky tab is kind of out of the question. But you can bookmark a page, okay, and it'll take you to, you have a set of bookmarks at the top and you can go there. So bookmark page 295, because that has how to translate sentences that don't start with all, some, or none. A statements, things like only celebrities are spoiled brats, something is a breakfast only if it's a meal, any car is a vehicle. Okay, so you have to be careful about those. Same thing with the E statements, no SRP, okay, some SRP, and they all have the ways that those can be Englished, and then you have to turn them back into, or turn them into standard forms, okay. The only one I think that will give you trouble is what we call a singular statement, okay. John is a politician. Okay, how is John a category? Well, John is a category. He's a category of one. Okay, so we would do something like all folks named John J. Jingleheimer Schmidt are politicians. Okay, and so it's all SRP. John's the S, but he's the only S. So there's that part. Okay, not too difficult. And then you have some ways to think about quantifiers are all, some, none, all those kind of things. Every soldier is a warrior. Okay, all soldiers are warriors. And again, if you see that quantifier and you're not sure, go over here until you find every, and it's in the A statements. So every translates into all, okay? And remember, language, the languages that we speak, were not made for logic, okay? And so we have to quantify, and we have to, basically eliminate what we can to make it as precise as possible. And that's what these statements are doing. They're making it as precise as possible. Okay, so 9.2 and 9.3 are there. And remember, you have a homework video that you can look at to do those. 9.3 is the fun one, and then we get weird again. It's the fun one because, okay, this is how we draw these. And for those of you, like me, who are visual learners, these things are great, okay? So when we diagram Venn diagrams, okay, let's see. I don't want to erase that because I want to add to it, but I'm going to do this little thing over here. So a Venn diagram in the simple form is this circle overlapping another circle, okay? So all 4 of these statements will look like that when you start out, okay? We always label S and P, okay? And then we do various things, we mark various things in there to show these 4, okay? So you don't have to think about, where do I put that? How do I do that? What is that saying? If you have an A statement, it looks a particular way every single time, okay? If you have an E statement, it looks the same every single time, and so on and so forth, okay? But you always start with that. Now, let me explain one little thing here. I have yet to consistently be able to draw on a Microsoft Word document, like with a computer, okay, and make everything go, and then when I save it and send it, it looks exactly like it did when I made it. So I draw mine by hand, and then I take a picture and either embed that into the document or just make the pictures, number them like the exercises, make a page of the pictures, take a picture and attach that to the same homework spot. Now, I've had people try different things. If you have to describe what you're doing, it doesn't work, okay? I want you to see on the actual Venn diagram what's going on, okay? I want to be able to look at your page and go, oh, that works, that works, that works. What is that? Okay, so I want you to do them so that I can give you points, okay? So figure out early on here how to do that. Maybe, I have no doubt, some of you are probably way better at manipulating computer programs and things than I am. I am not tech support, that's my husband's job. But these are specific and technical, and so I hand draw mine and put them in. I think I managed to do one for the chapter notes, and wow, yeah, that took way too long to monkey with to get it to stick. So from now on, just hand draw. And the other thing we need to do, and let's see, this is page, while I'm interrupting myself, on page 300, there is a box with the 4 basic categorical statements, okay? Make yourself a 3x5 card, use it as a bookmark like we did with the truth tables, and then you'll have things to put on the back too, so we'll get to there. It's just, again, I'm a kinesthetic learner, I'm a visual kinesthetic learner, I like to see it, but the fact that I can touch it, write on it, I'm totally happy, okay? So if I'm gonna draw these out for you, I have to do a couple little things. So let's see, this is going to be my E. I'm going to put my A way up here, just, a little bit of stretching. Never hurt anybody, right? My I. And O. Okay, I'm not an artist either, not that an artist is necessary to draw circles, but yeah, they're okay. Okay, so you always start out with the 2 circles overlapping, S and P at the bottom to label them, and then we diagram. So for A, so for A, all cats are carnivores. We are always going to do this. We're going to color in the S that is the big portion of that circle. We're going to leave the little eyeball section open, okay? Now, what this means is all of the things in the A category, all the things in the S category, sorry, are part of the thing with the P category. Now, I know that looks kind of funny. And there are 2 different ways to think about it when you need to think about it. In this case, all of my cats, good luck, are in this section here, okay? All of them. So this side, either, and I like this one better than my original, the lights are off in that room because nobody's using it, okay? So it's dark, so it's colored in. The other thing, and this is something that I don't know if it translates well or not. So I have I go to this conference every year, and lots and lots of people, lots and lots and lots of people. And so we wanted to get a picture of our whole group, and there were like, 200 people. And so what one of our friends did was go up to the balcony, mezzanine, whatever you want to call it, and had everybody kind of packed into this space, and she took a picture from up above. Worked great. Gave me a brainstorm for this. See, if I am so full here, okay, I can't even see the floor here. Here, there's nobody, so I can see the floor. And you know how hotels have those awful carpets so that stains don't show? At least that's the hope. That's what I see. Okay, so I see an empty room. I can see the floor. Okay, or say the lights are out in that room, and that works too. So if I'm looking at no SRP, okay, if this is all SRP, no SRP means there are no cats in this middle section. So the light's off in that room, or I can see the carpet. Okay, either way, whatever you want to work on. Okay, but every single time you have an A, all SRP, that's what it looks like. Nothing else, no other way, just that. Okay, and if you think I'm overstating too much, I've been doing this a while, and I still get students who, play with things. Anyway, no SRP always looks like that every single time, regardless of what you want it to look like. That's what it is, okay? Some cats are carnivores, some SRP. And remember, I told you that some means at least one. So for some, we use an X, okay? So the particulars, we use an X. For the universals, we color the whole space in. That also makes sense, right? So some SRP, so there's at least one S that is also a P. So we put a little X there in that eyeball section. Okay, the middle room. To say there's at least one S, there's at least one cat that's a carnivore. Okay, some cats, some S are not P. Your X goes out here because it's still in the, there's at least one left. It's not this. There's at least one left out here. And so we say, yes, there's an X there, okay? So this is the standard format. These are the standard, the ones in the boxes are the standard sentences, statements, and A, E, I, O, those guys. That's how you do them all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. Which makes it easier, honestly, okay? So steps for diagramming a categorical statement, which is what each of these are in the boxes, okay? And so 2 overlapping circles, each one representing a term in the statement, S and P. Label the circles with the terms, S and P. Shade in an area of circle to show that the area is empty, or insert an X to show that at least one member of a class is also a member of another class, okay? And then we have this thing called equivalencies. So if you have 2 statements and they're kind of similar, how do you know if they would be equivalent? Which means you could interchange them and nobody would notice, basically. So you have a few of those on page 301 or at the bottom of 300. So let's say you want to know whether the following 2 statements say the same thing. No SRP or no PRS. Okay? So no SRP, it's an E statement. It looks like that. But you can see where if I say, okay, no PRS, same drawing. Okay, so they're equivalent. And the same thing happens, the no cats are carnivores, no carnivores are cats. Okay. Some cats are carnivores, some carnivores are cats. You flip them and you get the same answer. Okay, so those work. When our X or our shading is completely in one side, it's not going to be equivalent if you flip them, right? Or if you say all SRP and no SRP, are they equivalent? No. They're opposites, obviously, right? Not so hard. Some of these, we try to make them hard when they're really not, okay? So if you look at the top of page 302, you have the diagrams clearly show these are equivalent, all SRP, no SR non-P, okay? So, yeah, they say the same thing. And sometimes you just have to sit for a minute and wrap your head around it, and other times it's really easy to just go, oh, yeah, those work. And so in 9.4 and in 9.5, please make sure you look at the homework video for that. But I hope that helps you with 9B. And let me know if you have questions. You know how to get a hold of me. You have my email.